Creatures of creativity. From the front office, Well Strategy Studio in beautiful Edwardsville, Illinois, welcome to the Creatures of Creativity podcast, the podcast focused on the people and the process of creating. Episode number 4. I am David Leip, and as always, we are presented by Whole Street Productions, creating powerful stories through film. Check them out at wholestreetproductions.com. And joining me in the studio tonight, as always, from Whole Street Productions, principal partners Ryan Tollison and Michael Segura. Good to see you, Ryan.
You as well, Dave. Great to see you.
Everything going well for you?
It's going great. Yeah, we're busy and we have several projects going on right now, and we finished up a music video recently. Just got invited to an awards ceremony tomorrow night. A high-end awards ceremony.
Black tie event. That's right.
What?
Yeah. Through the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of St. Louis that we joined. Because obviously, look at me. And it's apparently an awards night for what, businesses and entrepreneurs and just
they have like, emerging business of the year award and business leader of the year award, stuff like that.
So Segura obviously is Hispanic.
Yeah. My father was actually involved with the chamber, years ago. And I happened to kind of see like an online ad for this business success program that they had a second cohort going on. And so it was like, I think it was like the last day for the deadline to apply for the cohort. And they had contacted us that night after I sent an application in. And then all of a sudden, here we are. But they've like right off the bat, before we even joined, they're like, oh, you got to make sure you have these ducks in a row. So like immediately they're helping us like, properly structure our business.
Ryan's having technical difficulties here with the mic arm. Yeah, these things are kind of temperamental.
That'll work. Okay, there we go.
Oh, nice.
Okay. That was probably pure comedy for
the balancing
watching.
technique. The good thing is you can cut to me the whole time, and you just might hear a little fumbling of the audio in the background. But now,
these arms
are
very temperamental. We're not sponsored by Blue, so we can.
No, it's all right.
We can say whatever we want to. Well, that's
we're
cool.
We're
man.
the only sponsor, so we can't pay for everything just yet. But
the award is cool, man.
Yeah. The award ceremony. Pretty excited about that. That we just found out about that today, kind of last minute too. But
so they invited you today for the award ceremony tomorrow.
Yeah. So and that's they've been really like a huge proponent of ours already. They got a grant that offers to get one of the members access to the event, and they still had room in the grant, and so they were I guess we were among the list that they were considering. So yeah, it's a huge opportunity for us. I'm pretty excited about it.
How about that?
Thank you.
A little round of applause for you. Yeah. Congrats. Okay.
Yeah, all right.
And we've got a big announcement that we're going to make within the next few days. Folks need to make sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X, because we are about to announce our first contest community involvement event, which is going to be
a poetry contest.
For whom? What are the details? Give me a few of the. Give me some broad
That's
strokes.
Important because that's actually part of our announcement video, which is a pretty funny idea that Ryan came up with.
So you have to be. It's a scholastic program, a scholastic contest. And you have to be in school. Yeah. Oh, what was the deal? We decided fall of 2025. You have to be
school age
to school. Yeah, to finish that semester or that year. So
homeschoolers count if you're homeschooling.
Cool.
That's okay too.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean we've got a video, a comedy skit that we're putting out here next week, I believe, to sort of premiere and present everything, and then we'll have a link, and you guys can all go to our website and submit your poetry.
Poetry contest for people that are school aged as of the fall of 2025. You got all summer to work on this, the rest of the spring to work on this, to submit your poem. Details will be posted on the Whole Street Productions website, and we will also post links to the rules in our social media. And the winners get 2 things: cash, a cash prize for the champion, and a cash prize for the finalists. We're giving away a total of $300 in cash, and all the finalists are going to be invited to be on a special episode of this podcast to share their work and talk about it. And we're really stoked about this contest that's coming up. So everybody who knows some kids, or if you're a kid and you're listening to this, whether you're high school aged, elementary, middle school, doesn't matter. If you go to school in the Metro East or in the St. Louis metropolitan area, great. You can come join the pod in person. But if you live in Oklahoma or Hawaii or Peru, do you have to be American to be in this? I say not. Well, I guess we'll have to figure that out. But at this point,
I mean, I'm fully anticipating just like a lot of local participation, but I think, we should be totally okay with national and international submissions.
How about that?
Who knows like what could happen with the internet these days?
World Wide Web, you can submit your submission from atop the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
How about that?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Paris, Texas, Paris, Illinois, Paris, France. We'll take your submission.
We'll take it. Yeah.
How about that?
Creativity from all places of the world.
Yes. Inspiring creativity amongst the youth of today. All right, let's talk about our guest tonight. Tonight we have my former student, a guy who was a Division I athlete, an extraordinary basketball player, currently a coach and a trainer, but he's on this podcast tonight because of his acting. Shawn Roundtree, formerly of Edwardsville High School, will be joining us tonight. And just a few highlights from his bio. He was a D1 basketball player, as I mentioned, starting off at Missouri State. Then he went to Central Michigan University. He has appeared in Chicago PD and The Emperor of Ocean Park with Academy Award winner Forrest Whitaker. He's been in tons of commercials. He has been in Drive Time, Foot Locker, and a bunch of other ones. I was watching football this fall multiple times, and all of a sudden, here he pops up. I'm like, I know that guy. Screenshotted it and sent it to him. In 2022, he won first place in Christine Horn's Hollywood-bound Actors Monologue Competition. He was selected into the acting track of the prestigious Hillman Grad Mentorship Lab, founded by Emmy Award winner Lena Waithe. He's a motivational speaker, and he founded Great Wave, a brand platform that he encourages the youth to be their best selves. I'm excited to talk to this guy.
Yeah, this is great. This is right up our alley. We know several people that were on PD, which is cool. A lot of Chicago people, obviously, were on that when we were up there for the pilot that we were shooting. So anyway, yeah, I can't wait to sit down and talk to him.
You guys have done some acting.
Oh yeah, but not as much pressure and spotlight on us. It's just in our own little productions, usually with only the two of us working on it. But now we have an intern that, has to deal with watching the train wreck that is us trying to act.
But you've worked with a lot of actors too.
Yep. Yeah. And that's especially exciting to talk to him.
Yeah. What do you want to know from an actor? What are the questions that are burning in your brain before you talk to an actor?
I was wonder what their process is and how they handle like dealing with like authority figures on set and what other people's processes are and how they fit into that and stuff. But I'm sure like a lot of things it's just about how things feel leading into it and finding the right people to be working on a project with. But at the same time, you got to make a living, so that's always interesting. Where the balance is.
I always wonder how much they are allowed to change the lines, if at all. Like, I think it probably depends on the project, but like,
yeah, it depends on the director. Some directors are more, are word for word. This is how it's going to be. Some of them are just, they're on the page, but they can be malleable, basically. You can do what you want to do with them. And, you know, I think each one has a time and place, and they're successful in their own right.
Let's get him in here. Shawn Roundtree after break.
All right.
Welcome to the show, Shawn Roundtree. Shawn Roundtree?
Yeah,
Shawn
thanks,
Roundtree.
thanks
Good to
for
see you,
having me.
Shawn.
Good to see you.
Okay, so how long have I known you?
Man, for a while. I graduated in 2014. So we're talking about like what, 2010?
11
I was
years?
a little freshman.
I've
Yeah.
known you for a long time.
Yeah, man. Don't make me feel old.
Oh, yeah. Don't make you feel old. Okay, and for what classes, let's pull back the curtain just a little bit. For what class or what classes did I have you? Sports and Lit?
Yeah, sports and lit. Sports and lit.
What do you remember about Sports and Lit?
I remember reading all these great stories, right, about some great athletes and their backgrounds. I remember having these great discussions, and you would delegate people who would lead the discussion, right? I remember you'd have to participate. You better participate in the discussion to get your points and get your grade right. But ultimately, I remember great stories about great athletes.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Fun times. All right, well, it's really great to see you. I appreciate you taking time out from your busy schedule, because now we are here tonight to talk to you about your career as an athlete, but mainly as an actor. So what are you up to right now in your career as an actor?
Yeah, so as an actor, well, first I've been professionally acting for about 4 years now, and so now I'm sure we'll get into how I got here, but really just living the life of a working actor. So that's a lot of auditioning, a lot of no's, right, from a lot of auditions. You might book some things here and there, but really just on the hustle with that. In classes, right? Like I had class today while everyone's living their life or at work or whatever, I'm in class at 12 o'clock every week. And so, yeah, just trying to enjoy the craft and learning.
Class where?
Class online.
Oh, online.
Yeah, man. The pandemic changed everything.
So are you acting in front of a camera online?
Yeah, well, there's certain classes where like it's more of a discussion, right, where the teacher's talking about giving you pointers about the industry. And then there's also classes, which I also take online, where you might have a scene you might have to act out. And, yeah, that might be right in front of your camera on Zoom. You might act that out. You might have a scene partner. But, yeah, pretty much right in front of my laptop.
My only experience with acting classes are the hilarious acting classes that I see in various sitcoms and in movies, that kind of stuff. Have you had any hilarious moments in acting classes where professors have or instructors have asked you to do something you're like, really?
Yeah, of course. Like, I mean, a lot of the times as an actor, you have to just like act goofy, act silly, get outside of yourself, right? It's like things where when you're done and nobody can see you and you recap, you're like, what did I just do? And if anybody saw me doing this, like they would think I'm just so crazy. But I had this class, and I was with the Hood School of Acting, HOUDE, which is this acting class academy that's in Cleveland, Ohio. And so online, they're teaching you about the Meisner technique. And so I got to level 3 of the Meisner technique. And part of the exercise is you have to do an activity, right? And so you have to do something physical, and there has to be a time restraint, and there has to be stakes to it. So like there's been times where I've had a scene partner, and while they're talking, I have my list of objectives of what I'm trying to accomplish, but like I'm doing something physical. So there's some times where like I was juggling tennis balls, right, while trying to listen to my scene partner, and it's the craziest thing. But with all of that, what it teaches you is how to really be present with your scene partner and listen to what they're saying and how they're saying it, right? Even though I'm still doing my activity. It's crazy.
I had a interpretive reading class as an undergrad from a guy who read on the BBC, and he was a big deal. And he made us all lie on the stage, close our eyes, and say, "Big pig." So we would say, "Big pig," and he would walk around and he'd say, "No, damn it, you gotta feel it." stuff like that. So it's like, big pig. Yes. Yes. It was just like,
man.
I thought.
I've had another exercise where all of the actors were in a circle, and our instructor is making us go around in a circle, and he gives us an emotion, right? And he gives us a scale. So he might say like happy on a scale of 10. And so like some of us are like expressing big, like what happy feels like, right? And then he says, okay, keep moving. And then he says, now scale it to a 2. What does happy look like at a 2? Right? And so now you have to act that. Oh man, this is
good.
Crazy
I like
things.
this. Let's do this right now. Ready?
Oh my
Ready?
goodness.
Melancholy.
Melancholy? Let's
Yeah.
choose another one.
Melancholy is like, okay, morose.
What's the number?
Morose on the sadness scale, I'm going to say is like a 6.
A 6?
Melancholy is 4, morose is 6, and we're going to get to lugubrious in a second.
What is all of these?
Come on, these are the words that mean sadness.
Okay.
Okay, we'll say 10. No, we'll say 6. 6 sadness.
6 sadness. Right? It's crazy.
You nailed it.
Oh man.
You are an actor.
Thank you.
All right. Good job. Okay, let's
Well
talk about
done, both of you guys. Yes.
Yeah, how about you guys? Should we give you want me to give you
Oh, hell no. I'll do that.
We're gonna pass on that one. Yeah, Ryan and I, we went through our exercises yesterday when we were filming a skit for our poetry contest that we're doing through the podcast and our company is sponsoring. But you know, that's something we're even already comfortable with to a certain degree too, because we've done a number of those skits. But you know, we do switch it up enough to where, you know, you kind of have to really, like you said, be present and pay attention. And we're only doing a couple lines, and we have the notes right in front of us, you know. So it's the easiest scenario. But even so, you're still like, you know, we had to take a couple of times where we both had to just like reset and like, you know, just literally shake your body off and just kind of get the jitters out. So that's nice
and
to
get
hear.
over how you'll look doing it.
Right.
Get over what other people
how you feel.
Man, all of that stuff.
That's cool.
I will say that I hate seeing myself on camera, but it's gotten a lot better since we've started doing these things, because I'm like, oh, it's nothing. I'm like, I'm not thinking about that anymore. I'm thinking about like how I can improve on this, you know? So
There you go.
it's kind of cool. But
There you go.
You've done some cool things as an actor.
Yes.
What are the things you're most proud of?
You know, as you continue through your acting career, like you learn and take the smallest victories, right? Like the littlest things. But some great things, man. My first audition, like when I signed with my agent in 2021, was an audition for Chicago PD. Very first one. And I booked that, right? And so that was like welcome to acting moment. And that's one of the biggest sets that I've been on. Like, you know, starting super green, not knowing anything.
First day you show up there.
Yeah.
Never been an actor before. This is your first acting gig, and you show up on the set.
Yeah. And
You're like, where's my trailer?
dude, that was a co-star role, so I didn't have a trailer, but like you go to this neutral location that everyone's at, base camp. And then it's like you hear the AD who's just like taking you through everything. Here's Crafty, here's so-and-so, here's so-and-so. And it's like the world is moving so fast, right? And I'm so nervous. Then they take you in this van to where you're going to film your scene at, right? And we're in the middle of a Chicago street. Like they've blocked the whole street off so we can film, right? And then I see Eric LaSalle. Like, that's our director for the show. And so for the listeners, Eric LaSalle, if you've ever seen Coming to America, he's Lisa's boyfriend with the Jerry Curl, but he's also a doctor on ER.
I was just going to say, yep.
Right?
Yeah,
Like, he's
yep.
on ER. So that's my director. And there's an actor who I was watching a year prior, right, on TV. And then I see him, we show up on set. And I'm like, this is real. This is so real. And in the episode, season 8, episode 8, it was coming right out the pandemic, right? And there was a lot of racial tension at the time, if you remember. And so the episode was so heavy, right? And I remember like filming the scene a couple times, and then it just got much smoother. But like that was a heavy day, and it was a blur.
What was your first line?
Man,
It's okay if you
is
don't
there a
remember.
problem, officer, or something like that? It was something like that.
Did you screw up? Any mistakes?
Maybe the first take, but you just keep rolling with it. You just keep rolling with it.
How many takes did it take to get your first scene?
We did about I got it down by the second take. Like we went straight through the second take. But it didn't get in my body and feel comfortable probably till the fourth. And that's usually how it works. You know what I mean? Where I wasn't thinking about it. It was just natural. Now I really was the character and it was flowing. You know? Yeah, that was a day right
Tell
there.
me about working with Forrest Whitaker.
Oh my gosh.
Ocean Park.
Yeah. That was crazy. That was well, I first met him. So I drove up to Chicago for a fitting, like for costumes and stuff like that. And we also had a table read. So the first time I met him was in the table read. And I remember all the actors are around the table and my back is towards the table. Okay. And the last person comes walking in and you can just feel the whole room just kind of like get quiet and look. And I'm like, oh yeah, he's the man is behind me, right? And so just seeing Forrest Whitaker come and sit down, I'm just like, wow. We go through the table read, and like every time he says his line, I'm like looking down like, yo, this is Forrest Whitaker. Like this is
Big deal.
This is insane. So fast forward, I was on that set for a whole month, right? Like every week I would drive up to Chicago to film my parts, which was a big thing for me at the time because that was my first time working with the same crew for multiple weeks. So I got familiar with everyone, costumes, hair and makeup. Now my scene with Forrest, man, when I tell you, like, my heart was pounding outside of my chest. Like, it was crazy. Luckily, that day, I had been filming already. And what's crazy is they had the walkie-talkies, and his character was a judge. And so throughout that whole time, I knew where Forrest was because they would be on the walkie-talkies like, the judge is just arrived on set. The judge is walking around the corner. The judge is about to, like, so I'm hearing this stuff, and I'm like, oh, my God, he's on his way. So when he comes up, I reintroduce myself to him, talk to him, just getting familiar. The director's talking to both of us, and we're just blocking the scene. And there's still that, like, oh, my God, this is Forrest Whitaker. So we rehearsed it a few times. Luckily, we go to lunch right after that rehearsal. So I got time to, like, kind of calm myself. When we come back, I'm like, it's go time. Let's do it, right? First take goes well. I don't mess up any lines. That was the biggest thing. I'm like, if I can get through the first take without messing up any lines, I'm good. So we do that. I'm like, all right, yeah, we're rocking now, right? So we do it a few times. It's going well. And then there's this one take where the camera, it's a close-up on him, right? So it's over the shoulder, just straight on him. And at the end of the scene, I walk off, right? And so when I walk off, I can look at the monitor, and the camera is still on him until they say cut. And Forrest is just looking at my character in the distance. And when I tell you, it's just, he's not saying anything. He's just giving a look. And I'm just looking at that monitor like, this is insane. Like, this is Forrest Whitaker we're talking about. And I'm doing a scene with one of the most decorated actors ever. You know? Awesome. Like, it's insane. Shit. So it was I was so grateful. And, you know, you never know when you get these breakdowns and audition opportunities, they don't always tell you, like, the importance of your character. So, like, my character really was a breaking point for Forrest Whitaker's character in the show. When I was auditioning, I didn't know that. You know what I mean? Like, I only had a few lines here and there. I did that. I'm like, okay, cool. I booked it, yeah. but then they give you that full script, and you're like, this is my character. This is me. So,
Seems like a pretty big role for your first time.
Yeah. It was pretty big. It was pretty big. And then up to that point, I had some roles, but like not with anyone. My scene partner was Forrest Whitaker. No.
What did it feel like watching yourself first time? First time you saw that finished episode of Chicago PD.
Yeah.
And you see yourself. What was that experience like for you?
Oh man, the younger me was so excited. Like, it was highly emotional. The support that I got from that moment. And when we go back and talk about, just my whole career through sports and the decision to do acting, that moment on Chicago PD was like, I have arrived, or I knew I made the right decision. That was that moment.
That was your moment.
Yeah. And the best thing about it was like, my grandma who's up in Chicago called me, was like, yeah, I told everybody my grandbaby's going to be on TV and everybody's going to watch it. Man, that's a moment I will never, ever forget.
And then what comes next for you? The lab, the Hillman grad mentorship lab, or the monologue competition, or the advertisements?
Yeah. So what's crazy is after I booked Chicago PD, I don't book anything for like the next 3 months, right? Like you think that, okay, once you book something, it's up. Like I'm about to do this, do that. Man, I didn't book nothing for like 3 months.
But were you auditioning?
Barely.
Okay.
I barely got it. I mean, I'm still new in the industry at the moment. So this is my like learning about the business, how it goes, peaks and valleys. I barely have anything. I don't have anything on my resume except Chicago PD, right? So like a lot of cast and directors they're not. That's great for me, but like, what else have you done? So that was a hard time. That was a real reality check. Like this is not as easy as you think. But then I keep auditioning, book some commercials here and there. The monologue challenge was through Hollywood Bound Actors, which is given by a woman named Christine Horn, who's booked a lot of TV, a lot of films. I did a monologue challenge. It was a competition, and I ended up winning. And that was in 2022. So that was a whole year after Chicago PD.
I feel like the world slowed down right about then also in terms of maybe making films.
Oh, yeah.
COVID.
Yeah.
So that kind of limited some of the opportunities.
Oh, for sure.
That was unusual.
COVID rocked everything as we know it in the industry. And then, leading up to 2023, all the contracts were up for, renegotiations, like SAG-AFTRA and stuff like that. So that's where the strike comes in later, right? So the whole industry has shifted ever since COVID. It's still in shambles. It's still trying to recover now.
What was it that made you want to become an actor? And I still want to go back and talk about the athletic story.
Yeah. So when I was younger, I was always performing. Like I was singing in talent shows. I was doing musicals. I was doing plays. Like I tell everybody all the time, like when High School Musical came out, that was really like my life for real. Just an athlete who's kind of scared to really branch off into performing and acting and things like that. So that's always been within me, right? And so around 7th grade, that's when sports really got serious, right? And then it was just like, I really love basketball too. And so I took that, I like completely put performing on the back burner. Fast forward down the line, I play basketball. I go overseas and play professionally. And at that point, I kind of felt like basketball had ran its course, right? And so there was something just tugging on me, like, you want to give this a try. Like that performer in me was like creeping back up. And there was a moment when I'm overseas where I'm just like, okay, whenever I get back to the States, this is what I'm going to do. I'm done playing basketball. and I'm going to have to pivot. I don't know how, but this is just what I'm going to do. Now, when I came back, it was February of 2020. And so fast forward a month
that is the
later,
worst time.
the whole world shuts down.
Yeah.
The whole world shuts down. What that did for me gave me opportunity to research the industry, learn about the industry, what I need to do, what can I do. And luckily I had some good mentors to help me during that time to kind of learn about the industry.
Let's go back and talk about sports.
Yeah.
You come from a big basketball family.
Mm-hmm.
Dad's a referee and a basketball guy. You have two brothers, one older, one younger. You're the middle guy.
Mm-hmm.
You're Marsha Brady. You're right there in the middle. But they're all basketball stars.
Yeah.
Ish was a quarterback also. So sports. And one of the things that I think can be unfortunate about education and being a great athlete is you don't really have time to do other stuff. Man. So you get into basketball as a life passion and a lifestyle as about 7th grade.
Yep.
And your goal at that point is NBA.
Yeah. Man, it's so crazy. And just to give my older brother credit, like Shawn Roundtree, so he was a quarterback at Edwardsville High School.
Right.
But my brother he's what you call an overall athlete. He still got a record at Liberty Middle School for a track. He played baseball at a high level. He played soccer. Like, he played everything. He snowboards. Like, this was my idol of a real athlete growing up. And so, growing up, you hear about the Alaria brothers all the time, right? And I was young enough, had a lot of just really self-motivation to be good, to be better than my older brother, to be someone in this community from sports. And so, growing up, that was a goal. I also had a lot of older guys that I looked up to who played in this community, played for Edwardsville High School. And so they all raised me. They were really the ones that were like, okay, when you get to high school, you got to do this, you got to do that. So from a young age, I did feel that pressure a little bit to be a good ball player.
And you played on some great teams.
Mm-hmm.
And you played for a Hall of Fame coach.
Yes, sir.
And Mike Waldo.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to talk about the connections between being a performer and being an athlete. Mm-hmm. But you played big-time high school and college basketball. First of all, let's stay with Waldo.
Yeah.
What'd you learn at EHS from Mike Waldo?
Man, Coach Mike Waldo.
Should have had this on the induction video.
Oh man, he just texted me 2 days ago too. But growing up, I've been watching Coach. I was watching Coach Waldo since I was in 5th grade. Right, again, older brother in sports, and so I've seen Coach Waldo do a lot of things. I've seen him be upset. I've seen him when he's happy. I've seen him in so many forms. But the man is so smart. Like, he can remember any fact from whatever time period. Like, he will throw out the most random facts about someone. His memory is so good. But overall, I learned how to just be a competitor and a winner. Discipline, right? Like, do things a certain way every time, and you'll have a good chance at winning. Like, we won a lot. I don't want to brag on myself, but I'm the most winningest player at Edwardsville. But due to him.
You won the most games as a player.
Yes, won the most games. 85-13. Something like that as a starter.
Did you start as a freshman?
No, I didn't.
Did you play varsity as a freshman?
A little bit here and there.
Okay, but you were a starter, point guard, 3 years, sophomore, junior season. Sophomore, junior, senior season.
Yeah.
Became a star at Edwardsville. And then you begin your college career at
Missouri State. Did 2 years at Missouri State. My sophomore year, I got injured with a hamstring injury. Ended up getting a medical red shirt. Went to junior college for a year at Mineral Area College. Then got the opportunity to play back at the Division I level at Central Michigan.
All this basketball and then professional basketball in Europe, like you talked about. So all this sports, all this basketball, and I can see the connections, how this prepares you for your acting career. How do you think a lifetime of being a jock and a high-performance athlete prepared you for a career in show business?
Man, that's a big question. It's a loaded one too.
I worked on it all day.
It's a loaded one. I think the work ethic is a huge part of the journey and the connection between sports and acting. Like I hear casting directors and a lot of people in showbiz talk about how they love athletes because their work ethic from sports shows up and it's more than the average actor or performer. For me, what I had to really like entangle the main thread line was like through basketball, I was a fearless leader, right? Like narrow, tunnel vision. I had a goal. I'm going to go and reach it. Like I'm going to go do it. That's just the type of player I was. And so when it came to acting, I applied that same like mindset, which really helped me and propelled me, and is still helping me to this day. Now I had to work on a lot of things personally, right? Like as an athlete, when you talk about not having to show as much emotion all the time, right? Being vulnerable as an athlete, you don't really get to work on those aspects of yourself because you got practice the next day. You got a game the next day. Something happened to you. You got to shake that off, right? As a leader, I didn't really show a lot of emotion because I had a lot of guys looking at me. So if I was down or upset, they're going to get upset.
And that's acting.
Yeah.
When you're on the floor and you're upset and you pretend like you're not, you are acting.
Yeah. That's so true. And I was able to do that pretty well. Now, when you get into the acting space, I had to really work on that part, right? Being vulnerable, being empathetic, because as an actor, you might have to play a character who displays all those types of things. And if you don't work on it in your real life, that's not going to come through when you're trying to portray this character. You know what I mean? So that right there was a huge, like when I finished playing basketball, I was just like a shell because I had been a robot for years. A robot. Like I had mastered being a student athlete. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had mastered it from success on the court, success in the classroom. Easy.
And you're only one character. Basically, when you get into that basketball character, you're the tough, strong leader. Mm-hmm. But when you're an actor, you have to be all these different things. But it's still acting.
Yeah.
I tell my athletes, it's a role.
Yeah.
You're out there, you're playing this role, and you have to play it. You're on that stage, on that athletic stage. I'm trying to think of other great athletes who made the transition. Who are the ones that
John Cena is a fun one to watch because he does a huge variety of roles. And I mean, of course, The Rock, but he kind of has typecasted himself intentionally for his brand. And then
Jim Brown.
I was just about to say
Jim Brown. Like Batista. There's a couple of football players.
Batista's amazing.
Yeah, he is.
He's amazing on screen.
Who are the actors that you like to watch?
Like outside of athletes?
Either one.
Oh, man.
Are there any?
Yeah, plenty. There's a whole like new wave of generation who's like my peers. So like a Florence Pugh. There's this guy named Damson Idris who's really, really good. So many. Paul Mescal. Like I can go down the line. Timothy Chalamet, of course. There's a lot of young talent, man. So much. Obviously, you got your Denzel, right? You got your Samuel L. Jackson. You got your Leos, Matt Damon, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino.
You go that deep. You go that far back. You like to watch the classic. Do you ever watch the old movies?
I've seen some of them, right? Like I can go deeper. I need to go deeper, right? When it comes to the older generation, I'm still a little bit surface level, but yeah, man, there's so many great influences I have.
I think the preparation, the toughness, I think those are the big things that go into both.
Mhm.
They're a big part of both, sports and acting. Any other connections between the two worlds that you can think of? Teamwork,
For sure.
taking direction.
Oh, for sure.
Think you'll ever have a director as tough as Waldo? You
You
might.
Yeah, I definitely might. Because of what they're demanding from me, right? When you talk about the team aspect, people don't understand there's so many different building blocks to creating something and making a final product. Like you talk about, people just see the actors, right? Like it starts by someone wrote this. Someone wrote these words that I'm saying. So you go from the writer, then building the team up of maybe, the directors or the assistant directors, right? Then who's filming it? Who's the cinematographer? You know what I mean? The DP. There's so many different aspects. And then when I'm talking, when I'm in a scene, there's someone holding a mic above me that nobody sees, nobody knows. It is all a team effort.
Don't forget that gaffer putting that tape down.
Come on, man.
Right?
Come on. It takes a full team, dude.
Takes a team to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Were you going to say something?
No.
Give me your ideal role. Is it stage? Is it film? Tell me what you would like, what you would most love to be doing 5 years from now.
Yeah, I hope to be on film, right? In a series or movie, which either one. But I would love to play a character that resonates with the generation, right? Like someone would see me and be like, yo, you're such and such. When I was younger, this role that you played really impacted me and who I am. I remember when things happened in my life, that character that you played really helped me through this time. I pray for the opportunity to play some type of role that, lives with people, because then I'm making a real impact.
What are those roles that live with you?
Oh,
what are the ones?
Oh, man.
Forrest Whitaker in Fast Times at Ridgemont High when he plays the brother.
Man, there's so many performances, but it's tough for me to answer your favorite movie questions, dude, because it's
that question sucks.
It's hard. It's
so
hard.
Many because you might feel differently on a certain day, or there's just so many movies that are
so many
genres, and it's like I might be able to break it down by genre, but even then, it's like
not for me. The answer is always the same: The Big Lebowski.
The Big Lebowski.
That is the movie. Great. I realize it's my favorite movie because I keep watching it over and over.
Yeah. If you're watching something,
there's so much there.
Year or whatever, that you can pretty much.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
I could watch it over. I mean, to me, there's so much there.
I'm a huge Coen Brothers fan.
Yeah.
They're probably on my Mount Rushmore of directors. So
that's my dream for you.
What?
Coen Brothers film.
Man.
I want to see you in a Coen Brothers film.
And
who can make that happen?
Yeah, who can make that happen? Please.
You
Please.
can.
I hope, man. I hope. But when you talk movies with a filmmaker, it's different.
Yeah, we're talking to the filmmakers here.
It's different. The things they know about certain films and certain directors and who made the film and their discography, their filmography.
Yeah. I think these guys are watching the lighting and the sound and the cutting and the editing and those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. And I think you're watching the
performances.
The performances.
Yeah, for
right?
sure. For
natural.
Sure. For sure. Yeah.
I would say Ryan for sure definitely would probably have a good perspective on the technical side of things. And then naturally, I am more of the story overall. I think initially, and Ryan was very helpful to point this out to me early on in our collaborative, endeavors, is that, I've been able to kind of piece a lot of different things to make a full thing and those things might not even have been intended to even be together in the first place, and so I really enjoy movies that kind of tell stories in pieces, and then, you got to kind of figure it out and try to guess it before the end and still get it wrong because they got some sort of twist in there.
That's
amazing.
Fun. That's amazing. I had two directors I worked with on a short film back in August, Chris Paisley and Miles August, and it was a horror film. My first time doing horror.
Is that what you and I? Is that the horror film that you came and did a little voice?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. It's called The Girl in the Street. But working with them, it was an interesting dynamic because one was so focused on, will this look cool, right? Like, let's make it look cool. When it's in frame, let's make it look as great as possible. The other director is worried about story, right? Does this fit within the world? We can move whatever we want, right? But does it make sense? How are we saying the words? Is it hitting right? And so that dynamic was so cool to have because seeing how they work together in their styles, it was so smooth.
When is that coming out?
Man, I don't know. That's the thing with post-production.
What's the name of it?
It's called The Girl in the Street.
The Girl in the Street.
The Girl in the Street.
And is this made to be on a streaming service, or is this going to be shown in a theater?
Probably most likely film festivals.
Okay.
Film festivals, and then things go from there.
A short film. Meaning was it 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes?
Probably anywhere between 15 and 25, but it's probably going to be closer to 20, if that.
Television or film? Which do you prefer? You've done a little bit of both.
I've done a little bit of both. At this point, it doesn't matter. Like, if you look at a lot of movie stars, they're doing series now, right? Because of your streamers, your Netflix, your Amazon Primes. There's so many different streamers now that you can kind of get the same thing, same result now. And the movie industry in itself is crazy right now, right? So, like, there's a lot of big time like, if you look at Nicole Kidman, she's been working movies. She's on like every network with a different show coming out every 3 months. Working. Tom Hardy, he's doing series. He's in Mobland with Pierce Bronson and Helen Mirren, right? Like, they're doing TV. So either one, man. Either one.
It's a tough business.
Mm-hmm.
What are you afraid of?
I'm afraid of in my mind, right? When I made this decision, there was a naive part, young, immature part that's like, oh man, I want to reach this level. I want to be on this film. I want to be in this movie. There's a part of me that's afraid of not reaching that. Honestly, right? Like, that's the biggest part.
Is it different as an athlete? Because if you're afraid of not reaching a certain level, what do? You go to the gym. Mm-hmm. You shoot more free throws. Mm-hmm. You work on your left-handed dribble or whatever.
Yeah.
What do you do as an actor?
Well, the feeling is the same, right? Like, I know what it feels like to be waiting on a team to call me to come overseas and play for them, right? While I'm in the gym every day, right? I know what it's like to audition so many times and hear no over and over again. So that right there, that rejection, that feels the same. Now,
how do you deal with that?
It was easier to deal with in sports, right? Because like you said, I can go to the gym. I physically can do something where I feel like I'm getting better, right? Or see results. I want to get better at this. Let me go to the gym and work on that. Oh yeah, now I'm making 20 out of 30. I'm getting better. With acting, you can go to class all you want. You can do so much practicing on monologues, on scenes, know your lines. When I audition for this show and I send my tape off, you might not hear anything back. No feedback. No, it was good, but this. You don't know 90% of the time. And so now you're just sitting there like, I don't know what I need to get better at. I don't even know if they liked it. But it was just maybe they didn't like my hair. I don't know if they liked it, but they didn't think that I could match up with the other actors and the rest of the cast. There's so many different factors that go into acting or why you might not get a job that is out of your control.
The biggest difference that I see is that Forrest Whitaker is how old? 70? 75?
He's up there.
I don't know how old he is,
Mm-hmm.
but he is still acting at a world-class level.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is playing world-class basketball at 50.
Yeah.
How old is LeBron? I know he's getting close, but he's not 50.
Right.
Your window of opportunity is much less as an athlete. Because once you get cut and you get cut again and you get cut again, you hear that clock ticking. But as an actor, it's like, okay, I'm gonna keep going. I got decades where I can still work on my craft.
Well, that's the thing, is getting to that mindset. That's a good mindset to have. One of my instructors said, acting is a life thing. You made a life choice. So I might not book the role that I'm thinking about, that I want right now, until maybe 10 years from now.
It's possible.
In between that time, do you have the stamina to keep going? Because you haven't had that quote unquote break yet. That's the thing that a lot of actors are dealing with. That's what I deal with.
The stamina and the resources.
Yes.
So to supplement your living right now, in addition to acting gigs, you are also coaching basketball. How much of that are you doing right now?
Man, I'm doing so much.
Did you help out with the team this year at EHS?
Yeah, I coached.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I coached.
So you helped Coach Battis this year at EHS.
Yeah, I was on staff, baby. I was on staff.
So that's every single day.
Yeah.
Did you ever have to miss practice to go rehearse, audition?
Yeah, there was times where I was late because I was, preparing an audition. There were times where I told Coach Battis, hey, I have class at this point. There was times where I had to go to Chicago to audition, but he understood that. Before I even accepted that job, he knew what I was doing. So in 2023, there was a writer's strike in Hollywood, and then there was an actor strike. Both of them went hand in hand. So there's no work going on, nothing, right? And so in that time, from October to February, I'm not going to be able to work anyway, to act, nothing, promote anything, nothing, the whole industry. And so that was my opportunity to coach and give back. And that's always been the balance. When we go back to when I was in 7th grade, right? Like acting, basketball, I was never able to find that balance.
Oh, you'd be great in a basketball role.
Oh man, I booked this role. I booked this role for a movie in Philadelphia. We filmed some of it, and I was a high school basketball player, and my worlds merged. It was crazy. I'll get to that in a second. But what were we talking about?
I don't know. I forgot.
Oh, just the supplementation of you coaching. Supplement.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. That's been such a reward and a blessing that I didn't know it was gonna be such a great thing for myself, but also my community, right? Like being in front of my community, being able for accessible to people, for people to be able to touch you, the common person. You know what I mean? It's meant everything, and it's changed my perspective on being here in Edwardsville.
Do you love coaching?
I do love it. It's second nature. I've grown up doing it. I watched my dad do it for years. It's another role that I fall right into.
So is that acting? Is coaching acting to a degree?
It can be. It can be when you have to really like help instill confidence in someone, right? Like really gas them up and help them. But that's it's not about basketball for me. It's about living in purpose. I know that I have a way. I have a gift of really talking to people and helping lead people. And so, I want to see this young kid. Sure, I want to see them make a lot of shots, but they're struggling with their self-confidence in themselves right now. It's difficult for them to go to school and look themselves in the mirror, right? What if I can help them through basketball become a better person, love themselves more? Those are the things I'll do it for. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's I love coaching, but I love impacting, on a deeper level than just basketball.
So what happened to the basketball role that you were shooting?
Oh man. Yo, this is crazy. So there was this film, and so actors have this website. It's called Actors Access, where you can submit for projects and things like that. This project came along, and I read the role, and it was for a supporting role, a young kid, best friends with, and they both play basketball, and it was perfect. It was perfect. With the role, they wanted you to send footage of you playing basketball. What?
So you're like, you just send them clips from ESPN.
Exactly.
Easy.
This is me. This is what I do,
Yeah.
right? Then you read the lines. I did something super unique and special in my audition that they loved it. They called me back.
What was it? You dunk?
Oh no, they wanted
Windmill.
No. Check it. Here's where my creativity comes into play. they wanted me to show footage of basketball and stuff like that, specific things. What I did was I created this video as if I'm the character and I'm being interviewed by someone. Picture you interviewing a high school basketball player, right? And I'm sitting here asking you certain questions that the director wants to know. So there were questions about like, what does basketball mean to you? And da-da-da-da. So I answered it. I went up to the high school and I filmed myself shooting and doing the certain drills they want to see. And then in between then, I would like answer these questions as the character.
Oh, nice.
You know?
So you got the job. Then they didn't make the film?
Well, I didn't hear back in the callback. This was in February last year. I didn't hear anything for months. And so that was tough. That was so tough. July comes around. I get this email from that director. It's like, hey, something came up back in February where we had to like kind of leave that project for a while, but we're back. We loved your audition and your callback. We want to see if you're interested in auditioning still. Audition. They loved me. Booked it. Flew out to Philadelphia in September. We had to film the basketball scenes first. Man, when I tell you, like, that was the first time I really got to bring my worlds together. And it was so natural. And we played with these young high schoolers, right? And so, like,
you're schooling them.
I didn't
right past them.
I didn't do too much, right? Because, like, they're kind of nervous seeing all these cameras and stuff like that. So, like, the basketball player in me walks up to all of them. I'm like, yo, my name is Shawn. I'm an actor, yes, but I'm a hooper. Like, let's just come out here, have fun. Let's, so I'm falling back into the point guard role. And then when we film, I have to film this sequence where I make this shot. I hit it on the first take. Now everybody's looking at me like, yo, who is he? Like, I do this for real. Like, this is what I do. You know what I'm saying? So, man, it was such a great experience. We're waiting to hear back from some other things to get in line so we can finish filming the rest.
Yeah, that's my pet peeve is when they put actors playing athletes and they don't know how to play the sport.
Oh, yeah.
Or they don't look like athletes, and I'm always like, come on.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the things that I always look for personally.
They got the right one.
Okay, what advice do you have for people that are thinking about getting into the business? Young people, especially athletes maybe.
Yeah.
Somebody who's thinking about taking that jump.
I would say there's no one way to get started in this industry. Like, someone asked me, how did you do this? Man, there's no one way. Like, I can't tell you just to follow everything that I did, right? I would say continue to work on yourself. Also, ask yourself, what's the reason why you want to get into acting? Because it could be fame, right? Like, do you just want people to know you? Is that why? Or do you really love the craft of acting? Because there's a difference, right? And so that would be the main thing I would say.
Cool. Well, man. How about some other stories you want to hear from Shawn?
Yeah. Am I talking too much about
No, that's why you're here. You're here to talk.
Yeah, and that's especially why we're like silent, because we're just like, enthralled and hearing the experience. And I would definitely say, based off of my experiences, kind of like we were talking before the show, finding your identity and the ups and downs of everything, and definitely, when I was growing up, media and just the general like aspect that we have in society towards celebrities and everything like that, it really glorifies what the idea is of being in Hollywood. And then, of course, there's a lot less access before the internet, so a lot of stuff was a lot more well hidden. And then coming of age while all that stuff's getting exposed, and then plus living your own life experiences and just realizing like, oh, I totally just had a lot of expectations for this, and I was let down. But that doesn't mean that everyone's like lying or, it's all a lie. It's what you make of it. And it sounds like, you have a really good perspective on it. And I think from my experience as well, being able to be grounded in everyday life in another place is really important when you're dealing in the arts, to help kind of remind yourself, like, why am I doing anything that I'm doing? And especially now that I have a family that I'm raising, that's become more of a priority for me than anything above all. So then it really makes you question, like, why am I doing my art? Why am I investing my time? And, what is it to me and anyone else? And of course, outside of like the service to other people, it's important to kind of like ask like that question, like, why am I doing this? And what's the purpose? And, what am I going to get out of this, but where's it going to go? And, exit strategy eventually too, because it's like, at some point you should just be able to earn your time.
Man, you said it. You said it. That's the hard part. It's like this lifestyle isn't stable, right? When you talk about creating funds for a lifestyle or to sustain you, right? Like there's a lot of different hustle jobs that I'm having to do just to try to do my craft. And, as I'm getting older, a lot of my peers, they're starting to raise their families. They've found their significant other. They've got their career going, right? And sometimes you're just like, okay, what am I doing? I got an audition today. I have to play make-believe, like, because that's what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, what is the purpose of this? Should I stop? Should I go find this real job, right? And as a creative, when you have these periods where you're not creating, right? And you want it so bad, right? Like I want it so bad, but there's things outside of me. I haven't booked the role, this and that. Now you start going in a downward spiral. So those are that's the hard part of where I'm at right now. Like now.
Do you need to move to be successful?
You know what?
In this career? Is it a challenge for you to live in Edwardsville and try to become?
Yes and no, right? I am an example of I've been making it work for the last 4 years, right? I am getting some great auditions, opportunities. Now, if I move to an LA, to an Atlanta, will there be more opportunities? Sure. The industry is shifting, right? Like a lot of things are going away from filming in LA. So lately what I've been thinking about maybe the last 3 months is like, I have a lot of roots planted here now, and I'm still getting auditions. I know what it's like if I have to get a call and I have to go, then I'll go, right? But when you talk about like trying to build something, trying to continue to build, I've started some things here in Edwardsville. If I leave now, I won't have, those resources of, trying to be impactful and purposeful. I'm impacting a lot of kids here, in my community. There's a lot of things happening in my community that I'm about to be a part of. So, just dealing with that, man.
I would also say Missouri is getting a lot of giving a lot of tax credits to film productions who are filming in Missouri, and there's a big article and news report about it just this week. But and then also Ryan and we started our company around 2014ish, and a lot of people we were going to school with in the same business, they were going to LA or to Atlanta or to, wherever, New York. And we kind of, saw through and ahead beyond those things. And we were just like, we really think we can continue doing what we're doing here. Yep. And the interconnectivity you were talking about, COVID changed everything. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure, it's definitely possible for you to keep doing that. And, the amount of money that's starting to come to this area, like, I think you're, it's like the gold rush is about to start happening here.
Yeah. Now it's about like, you have to have that community of like your filmmakers and other actors, and you have to create it yourself, right? Like indie films are in, they are coming back in, right? Like Honora just swept the Oscars. That was a huge message to the industry, right? That was a big message to the studios. We might not need you, right? Like that's highly important. So luckily, I've been able to, the last 2 years, I've been blessed to create a family and community of great filmmakers and fellow actors. In 2023, I was selected to the Hillman Grad Mentorship Lab, right? That was founded by Lena Waithe, who's the creator of The Chi, the movie Queen and Slim, Emmy-winning award winner, writer. And so getting into that was highly competitive. And what that allowed me to do was we had classes every Saturday for 8 months, right? And then there were times where we'd go out to LA, workshop. We were doing workshops in on the Warner Brothers lot. I had a friend who was in the mentorship lab who worked at Universal. So I toured Universal lot and Warner Brothers the same weekend. Like, it was crazy. But, you know, everyone thinks you got to work, network, you know, up, right? But it's the people on the side of you that you continue to build with that you might create something amazing with.
Because those people are moving up too.
Yeah.
They're moving up just same way you are too.
What's some movies that you guys are, or shows that you guys are watching now?
I like, funny enough, it's very meta, but The Studio. Have
Studio.
you seen that?
Yeah, Seth Rogen.
On Apple. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's amazing.
I just 3, I think we just finished last time, my wife and I. It's hilarious.
It's so good.
So funny.
It's so good.
Such a great like satire, but also a peek behind the curtain. 'Cause,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's how studios operate a lot of times, and it's good. It's good. Yeah.
What about Daredevil?
Oh, just finished Daredevil. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Solid?
Yeah, it was. It wasn't quite as good as the Netflix version of it,
That's what I keep hearing.
but it had some really great moments.
Okay.
in it, so I liked it a lot. And then Severance, which is
Oh, yeah,
fantastic.
man.
Love Severance.
Love it.
Man,
Love
it's
it.
so good.
It's so good. It's so specific. The marketing that they've been doing this year for it is A.
I saw where they were like at Union Station, and they had like the cubicles set up, and they
Yeah.
were just like the actors were just there
Oh,
doing their roles in
Oh,
the middle of
dude.
this, and everybody in the train stations looking like just swarming them and taking
Yeah.
pictures and everything. But it's just like they're right there.
They're doing it right, and it's like I'm glad they're doing it because you know the season finale for season 1 was in 2022. That's 3 years.
I know.
You know what I mean? So it's good. Ben Stiller is doing an amazing job.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
Ben Stiller,
I love
my
all
gosh.
in any of his work.
Mm-hmm.
Common Side Effects, I think, is the animated
The anime
show.
on Max.
Yeah,
Watched
now.
it about the blue mushroom.
Yes,
Fantastic.
yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, and I really enjoy it too because I just happened to find the creator's Instagram account whenever he was like promoting his art and getting a lot of people to sign a petition, I believe at that time, to get the show picked up, and then Mike Judge and those creators picked it up, and
It's a great show. And
Oh my
and that
gosh.
took me right into Fired on Mars.
oh okay,
Like I went
That's
from
great.
that to, so I was like, oh, you like sci-fi animated series. Fired
Yeah.
on Mars, I was like right there. I'm teaching science fiction now. So
Okay.
like I'm watching a ton of sci-fi. I'm really glad you brought that show up.
Well, and I love Common Side Effects because it's like it's an adult themed animation, and it's really framed, the angles and the storyline it's like you're watching True Detective as an animation. It's like, whoa. and it's a familiar animation style, but it's still something new.
Yeah.
It's just it hit all my senses, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is my show. I'm definitely about to binge this right now.
I gotta tap into that. There's a
Have you ever done any voiceover work?
man? No, I've auditioned for some, but I haven't. I would love to get involved in that. It's a highly competitive market. Voiceover is. It's like a whole other separate lane. But I would like to get in that lane. But I gotta check that out because one of the co-stars that I worked on another short film with at the beginning of the year, it's called Corner Man. I was a young boxer. It was crazy.
Pull that off.
Oh man, he's playing in was it Common Side Effects? Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Yeah, man.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
It's a good one. All right, cool. Well, I really appreciate you coming on
Oh
tonight.
man, thank you.
Did
This
we
was
leave
great.
anything out?
Great Wave.
Let's talk about Great Wave.
Yeah. So Great Wave was I found a Great Wave in 2022. And throughout my journey, just when I was finished playing basketball and I came back to the States, like I was mad at basketball. There was just a time where I didn't want to touch a basketball, look at a basketball, just because I
I think
felt
that's normal.
yeah,
when you're done with it, when you're done with your athletic career, I think it's you want to like.
I felt behind as an adult. That's how I felt, like coming back to the States at 24, 25 and feeling like I don't know nothing, right? Like as an adult, how to do nothing. And so I was just kind of upset because I was like, what did this really get me? But I was trying to figure out a way how to be purposeful. And I always tell everybody to be great. And I had this metaphor about waves of like they bring things in and they push things out, right? Like it's going to go to the shore and then it's going to come back. And your life is a wave and you got to ride your wave. And so I use Great Wave as a platform to through my motivational speaking, where I might go to universities or talk to student athletes about being themselves, how to be their authentic self, dealing with young traumas, right? Because when I was younger and I was an athlete, like I said, I was a robot. I didn't process my emotions. My emotional intelligence was very low. And so through Great Wave, I can help connect, the dots for a lot of these young student athletes and just people in general. And so it's been great. I sell some apparel through it and all of that. I'm going to speak to Central Michigan in August.
So Great Wave is your motivational speaking company.
Yeah, and it's kind of like an umbrella. Like when I do training, it's Great Wave training. So
gotcha.
All of that, man.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good for you. Anything else, boys?
That's great.
I think at some point we'll have to see if we can do some sort of collaboration, feature you on our stuff.
Yeah.
And we got to have you back on to the podcast at some point and just talk new projects or whatever you got coming to it.
Please. That's I love talking with people who love film, and I love learning from them and talking about projects. Like I said, I feel like I have another level to tap into as far as like filmmakers and learning from them and watching old films, right?
Yeah.
So
what about documentary? Would you ever want to be involved in a documentary?
Yeah. Yes, I definitely would.
Got to tell your story.
What, man?
Well, not just your story, but I mean getting involved in creating a documentary on
something.
Houston Lowry. Who we were just talking about.
Right.
These guys make films. These guys have made 40 documentaries for the Edwardsville High School Athletic Hall of Fame, and I've been part of that process, but I've learned about filmmaking working with these guys and that process. And I guess my only role is moderator, question asker, that kind of thing. But
which you're really good at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I was like, he always minimizes this, but like, that's a huge part of this. And
you have a great voice.
Thank you very much.
Right, but also Mr. Life, right? Coach
Call me
Life.
Dave. Come on,
Mr.
man.
Life.
We're old friends.
I want to know too, like with this lane within the last 10 years, this podcast, has this given you a way to be creative in a way that you always envisioned?
Absolutely. I've just realized that I've done sports, and then I've got my English teacher side where I'm trying to inspire kids to write poetry and do free writes and express themselves. And then the podcast was just kind of an extension of sports, the Metro Esports podcast initially, and then working with these guys has given me an outlet to do something non-sports focused. But I've always been interested in doing things other than tennis, other than sports. And so it's been fun for me. It's been fun for me because I love to learn. And it's been fun for me to learn how to produce a podcast, how to organize a podcast, how to record a podcast, how to promote these things. So I think it's exciting. Thanks for your question. I don't know.
No. I mean, I'm
much more comfortable asking questions.
I get it. I know. I know, but even as your student though, like when we were back in class, you weren't just the typical coach who's a teacher. He's just trying to get by through his day. No. Like you were very intentional with your assignments and who we were learning about. And as someone who was a young athlete who was still like dealing with identity, who definitely had different talents that he wanted to explore. Like I appreciate, the platform that you allowed us to really converse about things and see some things from famous athletes or fallen athletes that reside within ourselves. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that. And the way you did that, there was a creative side that I really rocked with, that I know you had. So seeing you do all this, it's pretty dope.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. It's been fun. It's fun for me to talk to people like you and Renee on the other podcast that we did last time, and Jim, and on and on and on. It's been fun. It's been great to work with these guys. Yeah. We started this podcast to have fun, to be in the studio together, to meet people like you and chop it up with people like you, and just share this space and network. So, man, I really appreciate you coming in tonight. And we definitely want to have you back.
Oh, please.
We'll continue to work.
Man,
with
there's
you.
so much. Like, there's not enough time. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Yeah, we'll have you back soon.
Okay.
We'll have you back maybe on a yearly basis to catch up with Shawn Roundtree.
And hit that applause button for yourself over there, Dave.
I don't know why. I didn't do anything.
No, I love that you said that, though, because that's exactly, like what helped start this podcast was Dave's enthusiasm for, getting people out, and kind of out of their comfort zone, and then, onto a new endeavor or challenged. And he challenged us. And, but like you said, it's to have fun. And, that's as much as it is to work, to do certain things like this. Like, it always is a lot of fun that comes out of it. We get to talk about a lot of things after the fact, and that kind of leads us into the next part of our direction. So
I'm a genuinely curious person. Like, I want to know. Like, I want to know, what was it like working on that Chicago PD? What was it like working with Forrest Whitaker? What's it like? How do you memorize lines? How do you memorize all those lines? I feel like I would be the worst. I feel like they would have to stand there and hold cue cards for me.
Man, it's a muscle. It's a muscle. Like, I've gotten better. Like, after this, I got to go home and film two more parts of an audition that I started earlier today. But, like, there's certain apps that help you, right? But over time, it gets easier and easier. So now you're not as worried, like, oh, my God. When you get a script, you're like, oh, my God, I got to do all this dialogue. You take your time, right? You just keep going over it, and it gets easier. But I was scared about that. The biggest thing, too, that I'm still afraid of is, like, emotional scenes. I'm still, like, trying to find my way and navigate through that, man.
Have you had to play a love scene?
No.
Are you scared?
Yes, I'm super nervous about that.
Yeah, that would be interesting, especially with like the
full frontal?
Well, no, yes, but no. The coordinators they have on set. What's the
intimacy
name of
coordinators?
Intimacy coordinators, yes. So it's a little different than it used to be.
Yeah. I haven't had the opportunity to do anything yet. I've had a love interest, but nothing crazy. I'm scared, man.
Nothing like Brad Pitt in Legend of the Falls or Tommy Wiseau in The Room.
Speaking of former,
couple two.
Well, and the Disaster Artist, James Franco, references that as Tommy.
Yeah.
And he's like, no. Brad Pitt does this in Legend of the Falls.
Oh, gosh.
Come on, let me give you my Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt played what sport where?
Mizzou, right?
Well, he went to Mizzou. But
he's from Kickapoo.
Kickapoo.
Yeah.
At Kickapoo, he played tennis, golf, and swimming. How good is that?
Yeah. I can see that. I was in Springfield, Missouri, so Kickapoo's right there.
There you go.
Yeah,
so
Brad
that's
Pitt.
why you knew that.
Yeah, man.
Kickapoo. Cool. I love that word.
Kickapoo.
All right, guys. Well, Shawn, you're the best, man. I appreciate it. So good to see you.
Nice
So good reconnecting with you. So good. It feels so personal watching a kid that you have in class be successful and chase his dreams, and I'm really happy for you.
Thank you.
Keep chasing those dreams, man. I know you're gonna make them all come to fruition.
Oh yeah.
Your work, your work ethic, your grind. I'm inspired by you, and so good to have you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Absolutely,
guys.
man.
All right. Thank you all for listening to the Creatures of Creativity podcast presented by Whole Street Productions, and huge thanks to our guest, Shawn Roundtree. Thanks, Shawn.